time. I'm on my way, I'm making it. Fame, 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 fame. Welcome to Into the Woods with Stewart Strauss. Joining us on our journey into the forest looking for the light, we have actor John Pirruccello. Ladies and gentlemen, here's John. John, welcome to Into the Woods.
Oh, thanks, Stuart. What a pleasure it is to be here with you. Thanks for having me.
Well, I'm excited to have you.
And thanks for the coffee.
Oh, any old time.
French
and
roast?
There'll be more.
Yeah.
Well, Starbucks, if you're listening, I love your French roast, and that's what I serve. So there you go. Always looking for new sponsors.
You're
right?
open to sponsors, is what you're saying, yeah.
Might as well be from Washington. Speaking of Washington,
Yeah.
that's how we met, really, through the fictitious town of Twin Peaks. Because John played Deputy Chad Roxford.
That's right.
Hey, I got.
Have you seen the show?
I watched a few episodes. Yeah,
The ones you're in?
Oh, well, and a few besides that. So.
That's all I've seen. I've just watched the parts I'm in. I fast forward through until I get to me.
Oh, I'm sure you do. Yeah. Well, and you knew exactly where you'd be, as we all did, because we all. Yeah.
Oh yeah, David sent me a little email saying, okay, and at 14 minutes and 53 seconds of part 5. That's you. He made it real easy for me.
There you go.
Huh.
For me, it was a total mystery.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it was for you too, wasn't it? I mean, actually,
yeah.
Nobody on that show knew anything.
Nothing. I didn't even know what I was doing.
Right.
I didn't even know the context in which I was doing things.
Correct.
It's great. It's the greatest.
Yeah, and I must have seen you on the stages in Van Nuys coming in and out because I certainly saw some of the other people that worked in the sheriff's office, but we didn't know each other at the time. We met a year ago, August, right, at one of the cast dinners, I believe, at the Federal Bar. No,
it's only been a year.
Yeah, I believe it was about a year ago in August.
Okay.
At that dinner.
Nice.
And yeah, we met there. And as well, I met a lot of people there. I mean, I didn't really know who Sabrina was until that night. I remember seeing her on set, but, I didn't really know what she did.
I knew who Sabrina was because I had to hand her whatever scripts I was operating off, and so she could shred them.
Well, there you go. Wow, actually shred them.
Yeah, they went into, I didn't watch her shred them. I trust she did. But they went into, she put them into this plastic bag that was in the production trailer, and then I'm assuming they all got shredded.
Wow. Well, I never saw a script. I never saw sides, pages. David.
Well, even the ones that I saw were completely redacted, and there'd be I saw no full scripts.
Wow.
And just even the scenes I was in were, only what I needed to know, and barely that. Actually, not even what I needed to know. What I needed to say. That's about all there was. That's it. Yeah.
That'll be. And how much time did you shoot on location in Washington State?
Most of it was up in Washington. We, I think there was, I don't think I'm exaggerating if I say 6. It was a 5 or 6 month drop between what I did in Washington, and I don't remember the dates and I don't remember the times, but I mean, I went up there for a week or two and did most of my stuff there, and then all of the stuff that's inside the station, but like the jail stuff, all of that jail stuff was down here on that stage.
Was down here on the stage? The jail? You did the jail stuff on the stage?
Yeah,
huh?
They built that.
Oh, okay. House. My jail cell scene was actually the Los Angeles Police Museum. In fact, everything there with
what?
Yeah, with Matthew Lillard was at the.
So when you disappear, from the. That's all. And Matthew, he's in the.
Matthew is in another cell.
Okay, well then they just completely recreated that scene, because doesn't it look exactly the same? Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. I had no. See, you learn something new all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and then likewise, Plus, Robert told me they built that whole radio station and set up.
Oh, wasn't that cool?
Kind
of reminds me of this, with your microphones hanging down like this in this sort of old-fashioned way.
Yeah, well, hey, I'm an old-school radio guy, so
it's really cool.
Keep it as live and radio-like as possible. So spontaneous.
Did you? I was a DJ in college. Did you do that?
Yeah. Right here, in fact, at KPCC in Pasadena.
What?
Yeah.
You worked for KPCC?
I did. Well, I was a student DJ there.
Still?
So, yeah, absolutely.
You were in the booth, on the mics?
Yeah, and I interned for Larry Mantle as well, who does Air Talk.
What?
Yeah, he was the program director. I imagine he still is.
Yeah, he's still there. Larry's still there.
Oh, Larry's a great guy. I worked with Rod Foster back then, and I actually went to school. I went to work for the college, but in the film department, in the TV department. And then I worked at through the college at PCAC, which was the cable access channel in Pasadena. Ran the mobile truck, which is owned by both the college and the access
Which
channel.
college are we talking
Pasadena City College.
Pasadena City College,
PCC.
okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Oh, PCC, of course.
Yeah.
Oh,
And that would have been, for me, late 80s into 90, 91, thereabouts.
Now, and was KCRW happening back then?
Oh, absolutely, yes. In fact, KCRW was the competition for local NPR affiliates.
I have to find. I find though that I'm listening to KPCC more.
Yeah.
I find myself on there more, especially like on the weekends, because they seem to kind of, it gives me that vibe, that college student. Like there'll be like a DJ, like late at night or something. There'll be a DJ
good.
on there, and they'll be playing music that I've never heard before, and it kind of reminds me of that time. That's KCRW, great, but they seem to be a little more kind of moving toward the the national audience sort of thing.
Sure, and they had Morning Becomes Eclectic and all those things way back then,
and all that stuff. Yeah, of course, yeah.
We played softball against the KCRW
Oh, that's great. So they were like literally your competition.
We had fun.
Probably.
We had a lot of fun. We
Yeah.
played there. We played I think we played at PCC one time. We played in Santa Monica one time.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, that was a good time back then. And I learned a lot. Mm-hmm. And I learned a lot from Larry. I was his phone screener for a while before, maybe at the same time.
So you decided who went on the air? Or you decided who got in line to go on the air?
Pretty much, but I also would screen or would meet his guests when they would come in. And Larry's rules of interviewing, at least a couple of them, I'd like to think I adopted from Larry.
Sure.
And that's to never pre-question, pre-interview, tell you what I'm going to ask you. And likewise, when I'm interviewed, I tell the host the same thing.
Yeah.
Please don't tell me what you're going to ask me, Or
it's so great when somebody calls that out. That's like if you watch a late night talk show host or something, you watch Conan, or I don't even know if that's on anymore, but whatever, like Jimmy
Conan,
Kimmel or something or whatever, and you watch that and you see the guest sort of go off script or something, or call attention to the fact, like the best hosts can completely hide that element, the fact that they've done it. But sometimes it doesn't happen and they don't hide it and the person calls it out. I just love that. I love it or when the host will be like, well, listen, this is what we talked about in the hallway, and they have to like admit that it's structured,
Exactly.
It's the greatest. I love that. Cause that's I think that's why I love improv so much, is because, mistakes, are the only real thing you'll ever hear. It's the only real thing that ever happens is that you can be sure, is real, is in our work, is a mistake.
Right. And in radio, there are no mistakes.
Right.
You know that? And I won't go on a tangent, but I saw Willem Dafoe yesterday in this new film about Van Gogh.
Oh, yeah. I saw the trailer for that.
Oh, what a film and what a performance. But Van Gogh's thing was like, or it was Gauguin who was telling him, there's no mistakes. You put the pen or put the ink or,
that's right.
paint in the wrong spot. It's not a mistake. You just build from there.
Well, that's, I mean, this is what I try to instill in my children too. My daughter's an artist. She's a painter. And when she was younger, she would just get really upset, if she like screwed something up. Oh, and I worked so hard on this, and I tried to instill her. And no, that's where it's supposed to go. Like your job is to make that have not been a mistake, is to make that be, and maybe you follow the thread and it doesn't go, somewhere, so you start over. But I'm just saying, just because you did something that you didn't intend to do, that can be the best thing that happens to your work.
Likewise, as a musician, any artist, right? Anybody, in the creative.
Well, yeah, like if you hear if you hear the noise of the fingers on the fretboard or something, and I saw Luciana Sousa at Royce Hall the other night. And she's just amazing.
Classical guitarist? I don't know what she does.
She's a Brazilian jazz singer.
Oh,
and
terrific.
she had an upright bass and a guitar with her, and that guitar player had. It was this. I had never seen this mic before. It was coming like from the body of the guitar, and then it sort of snaked around to the front, so it seemed to be sort of miking the fretboard from about midway down.
That's
and I had never seen that before, and I thought, that's they are sort of mixing in all of the sound that's coming from there, including him moving his fingers and including, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And so they're getting, and boy, you're in that big place. I don't know how many people are there, at Royce, a couple thousand or something, but it's however they did it, it just seemed so present, and the whatever mics and whatever mixing they did, it just really, I felt like I was standing right there. I was probably four rows back, but it was just like, it's an amazing accomplishment to me to be able to do that.
Well, you're also talking about a room, I imagine,
huge,
where the acoustics are so good, just built into the room.
Yeah.
You don't need a mic sometimes. I actually saw Andre Segovia perform at, it was a master class at USC, and I was just a guest. I wasn't in the master class, but it was an auditorium full. He didn't use a microphone. He didn't use anything on his guitar, and you heard every note.
Not great.
Oh, yeah, it was something else.
I saw U2 many, many years ago in San Jose, and at one point Bono, this is like a stadium. It was like Staples Center kind of place. I don't remember what the place was called, but it was like the San Jose Staples Center.
Yeah.
And he at one point, and we were pretty far back, and he put his mic down and just started, belting with no amplification, and it was faint, but you could hear him.
You could hear him.
And there was something very, very powerful about that, like all of a sudden my consciousness was down there. We were connected much more than we had been a second ago, because it was the reality of the situation. There he was, way down there on the stage.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
That is amazing.
Amazing stuff. But anyway.
Well, hey, let's...
Blah, blah, blah. Let's start the show?
Sure, why not? Why not? We'll get something going
Let's
here.
Let's get the show going.
I want to ask you about one of the great writer-directors of our time, and many of them, but David Mamet. Yeah. Sounds like David Mamet was a turning point for your career. Maybe, maybe not.
Oh yeah, absolutely. For my life as a human being.
Oh really?
Oh yeah.
Oh please.
Oh yeah. He's the greatest. I don't even know where to start. But he our kids went to elementary school together and became friends.
Okay.
And so he and I, became acquaintances at first. And I think in that period, because you never, when you have, did the microphone stop recording?
Oh no, I was just looking at levels.
You're looking at levels. All right. Which one's me?
Well, we're just being mixed together.
Oh, we're being mixed together.
In this view.
Okay.
We're actually...
So if you needed to go back
and... editor.
Look at that.
Trying not to cut here. I made it way too tight.
Oh, I see.
Let's see. Yeah, we're in about 14 minutes.
So if I get really close like this and I go blah,
okay.
blah, 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 then it's like really high.
Well, no. You should be able to give me a little... You can scream a little. Yeah. See, you're not hitting any red. You're in the yellow.
I'm in the yellow.
But that's where I want you to be.
So yellow means
yellow's good.
Off key, I think is what yellow means.
Yeah, there you go. No, yellow's good. Yellow's always good. Better
Yellow's
than
always
green.
good.
and much better than red.
We
You
don't want red.
No red.
We'd like to stay clear of green if we can. Yellow's okay.
Yellow's good.
Red is where we live.
Yellow's where the headroom lives.
That's right.
So
Okay.
that's what I recall.
Oh,
like I say, I'm old school here.
Yeah.
In fact, this has been a really big challenge for me, learning how to do all this in front of a desktop rather than an actual mixer and tape decks, or, going back to the 80s and 90s and,
Sure.
But
Wang Chung.
Wang Chung.
Everybody
there you go.
Wang Chung tonight.
Tonight, if you can.
Yeah. Is that 80s?
I think it is.
It was the 80s for sure. Like
God.
Joe Jackson is the 80s.
Oh my God!
and,
Yeah. I saw him not that long ago. But let's
back to Mamet. So in the beginning, our kids are friends, and when you're at a school, your kids. The thing about you don't have kids, is that right?
No.
So
Not
what
that I
happens
know
is we'll get a call soon.
Yeah.
Right after this airs. Is that your kids become friends with people, and just almost invariably you don't get along with the parents, or you're not. It's a very kind of cursory sort of relationship. Like, okay, for me, it was like, okay, are you going to allow my kid to walk out into the street and be molested or something, right? Like that would be what I'm sizing you up for as a parent. And I wouldn't dare to dream beyond, I think you'll probably take care of my kid. That would be the biggest thing.
Yeah.
So the idea that you would be friends with the kid's parents was highly unusual. And by the grace of God, I we became friends. Our families became friends, and so and he's been like a big brother to me. I mean, he's kind of taught me to sit up straight and dress for success, so to speak. There was a moment where I was doing a play at the Law Studio in Los Angeles. I was doing a Horton Foote play, and I was inviting everybody, and I thought, oh man, I don't want David Mamet, to come to my play. I mean, that's a big ask, I mean, and so I'm like, and then I decided, well, no, it would be weird if I didn't invite him, because we're like friends now, so to speak, and so I should probably, I didn't know them well, but I'd been in their home and I'd probably eaten with them. And, so I thought it'd be weird if I didn't. So I did invite him. He came. He and his wife, Rebecca, came to the play. He wrote me a little note and sent it backstage, and because they had to leave. Their kid was sick. That same kid that is pals with my kid.
Okay. Is that the Clara? Or what's his daughter? Well,
no,
I don't know how many kids he has.
Yeah, he's got 4, but that's no. His youngest is friends with my oldest.
I see.
And so he wrote on a thing. Great job, we loved it, and so it kind of started from there. And then from there, he put me in a little sketch that he did for Funny or Die. And then he put me in Phil Spector, opposite Helen Mirren, and I'm not so sure HBO was down with it. I think he had to kind of fight for me.
Well, I didn't know who you were back then, but I remember watching the movie.
Yeah.
So I'll be watching it again. You ready for more coffee?
Oh, no, I'm fine. I've had enough coffee today. I'll drink water.
All right, hey,
Yeah.
whatever
You
suits
provided me with
suits you.
Arrowhead,
Yeah,
a local favorite, 100% mountain spring water.
Yes.
There we go.
And I'll do anything I got to do. Cut my hair and shine my shoes and keep on singing the blues if I can stay here in Johnny's garden.
Okay.
You said you wanted me to do some bumpers.
Well, yeah, I was going to ask you if you could, because just like David Mamet was a big get for you, I'm sure, at the time, or it seemed that, well, you're that guy for me. So, if you can put that equivalent, well, I mean, you're the you're the celebrity among us, sir.
Oh, but it's your show, and I'm flattered to be here.
Well, absolutely, and I'm so glad to have you. And what I mean is, when people know you're on my show, hopefully they'll listen to my show and enjoy it, even if they don't know me. They'll know you.
May it be so. May you be right about that.
So we'll find out. But I sure
guess we will. Yeah. We'll see what the ratings are.
Yeah, there you go.
What your star meter does after this. Or something.
There you are. That's a good one.
These are all really important things. The star meters.
Oh, man.
Awards and the Golden Globes.
I had to stop.
Important.
For me, I had to stop looking at the star meter shortly after, probably early this year.
Yeah.
Because I haven't really worked a whole bunch since.
It's such a load of crap. I'm going to tell you right now. I'm telling you because I sort of got into that for a minute where I did pay attention to it, and I did think that it was like something important, and it is absolutely like chasing windmills. It is not based in anything. I have removed social media. Social media from my phone.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So every once in a while I pop on there, like I'll get a message or something, or someone will say, hey, you should go look at this. So every once in a while I pop on there. But the point is I basically stopped interacting on social media. Yeah. And it didn't affect my star meter whatsoever. My star meter would go up and down just like it does anyway. And, anyway, I just found that the headspace that it puts me in to think about that is not healthy. It's not because at this point, I'm very, very lucky to be working, and I'm very, very lucky to be working on projects that are as good as the ones that I've gotten to work on. It's almost like I feel like I somehow cut in line and jumped the line and got to work with David Lynch and David Mamet and Bill Hader and Alec Berg. And so it's like somehow I somebody opened up a little door and I got to go in.
Well,
and the point is that none of that crap serves me as an artist, and it actually serves only to distract me and to sort of take me out of my work and what I have to do to prepare for my work. It's nothing but a distraction. And I'm off on a tirade right now, but I'm just telling you all of that stuff, social media and star meters and even awards, all of those things are no more or less important than they are. Yeah. And they certainly have nothing to do with the work. The conundrum is the work that I have to do to potentially get one of those awards those awards are actually in the way of me getting one. And as best I can to sort of remove myself from their very existence is the only chance that I might have to even get one. Is the whole conundrum. So I'm not speaking ill of them. I'm just saying they don't serve me.
And as an artist, I think that's the best way to look at it. I would hope. I mean, if you want to keep moving forward,
I'm so spoiled. It's going to be so difficult moving forward to have worked with those guys. I mean, those three. David Mamet, Pulitzer Prize winning playwright and incredible filmmaker, and he's an amazing writer. He's just written another couple of books. He's written a couple of new plays, and it's like that guy is where I started.
That is pretty incredible.
And then David Lynch.
Absolutely.
Give me a break. And then and now when we move into comedy, and it's at the very height of Alec Berg is Silicon Valley, and he's Seinfeld, and Bill Hader
was involved. Oh well,
he's a Seinfeld writer. Yeah. So I'm just saying, so now we're moving into that realm, and I don't know. We'll get into what realm there is next that I'm going to jump the line on. God willing. But
let me ask you about Barry. That's what we're talking about with Alec Berg. Barry is on HBO. Stars Bill Hader, Stephen Root, Henry Winkler, John.
Yeah.
Fine supporting cast. Written so well. I don't want to give too much away.
It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. And, and so many times I read stuff and I that I'm going to do, and I go, oh, I think it's all good, right? I always go, oh, this is good, But that one I I dared to think, I think this actually might be special. I think this might be different than anything we've seen before.
Yeah,
that was the thought that I had, you know?
Just a fan of watching the show. I mean, it had me hooked right away. But
good.
Yeah, the twists are
But wait a minute,
awesome.
I'm not in the first one, so what do you mean
No,
hooked
that's
right
true.
away?
But you're in 7 out of 8, and that isn't bad.
That's not bad. That's a good number. If you were a baseball player, you would be a god.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
Almost batting 500, you know? I mean,
7 out of 8?
enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, wait a minute. 7 out of 8.
Yeah, it's
Excuse
at least
me.
500. It's
Well,
probably like 6 or
but
700
I suppose you're going to get to
anyway.
1,000, really, you know, because no one's perfect. They say. I
They
made a
say
mistake
that, but why not
once.
shoot for it, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Place to go.
You know,
somewhere to aim at.
Joni Mitchell used to say, or I've heard her say, I mean, well, she said it in Miles of Isles like 40 years ago. She said, no one ever asked Van Gogh to paint a starry night again.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Oh,
and
that's
for
really
her,
good.
so like when you're moving on, like she didn't want to just keep singing the same song. She was moving into new arenas, new areas.
Well, she's as important as Van Gogh, you know? I mean, she's...
I think so.
Well, yeah, she is. I mean, she's one of those people that changed things.
Right,
you know?
absolutely.
And I think to your point, I think that show is changing things. I think
Yes.
Barry is changing things, much the way that Joni, you know, there'd be no Ricky Lee Jones, and there'd be no, you know, without Joni Mitchell, there'd be no all of those, just the way that the music was produced. Which, by the way, Larry Klein was her.
Was she a friend of yours, or Larry? Yeah, bass player, producer.
Yeah, he just got nominated for another Grammy.
Well, what was that for?
For this latest Lifetime Achievement. Actually, so he didn't get nominated. He's going to get a Lifetime Achievement.
Oh, well,
yeah.
that's great.
Yeah.
Well deserving.
Of course, yeah.
I saw him play with Sean Colvin 20 some odd years ago, and then Joni came up on stage. That was at the Wiltern. But yeah, what a musician. Fantastic.
Yeah.
All those guys.
Wonderful guy, yeah.
Yeah, Stuart Smith, I think, was playing guitar with Sean at the Colvin at the time. He's like a Nashville cat. That's just, whoa, great player.
Yeah, she's great,
Yeah.
Sean Colvin.
She's a brilliant acoustic player.
Yeah,
she really is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got to see her a few times back in the day.
I've never set foot in the Wiltern. I bet it's wonderful.
Grand theater.
Yeah, I'll bet.
It's beautiful. Beautiful theater. It's huge.
Is it going to live? Is the Royce and the Wiltern and these like theaters that are like this? What are their chances? You know, moving
I don't
forward?
know.
Do people appreciate that kind of thing?
Well, if we start going
I know.
to where the arts are being treated today, it's a whole other subject. But those theaters, I've seen symphonies in those theaters. I've seen ballets, probably. They are designed for those things. And as a kid growing up in LA, when we had arts and music programs,
Right.
we went on field trips to these places. You know, I was playing the cello at 8 years old in my elementary school band.
Good for you.
know, yeah. I mean, well, everybody had a chance. The cello was taller than me. I wanted to play bass, but I was too small to handle a bass. You know.
Now, is that because a friend of mine's kid plays bass?
Yeah.
And when he started, he's tall now. He's like,
Okay.
you know, because he's 19. But when he was a little guy and just started playing, I feel like he was small. They feel like he had to kind of reach up there to do it. But did they tell you, no, you can't do this. You need to move away.
I think maybe it could be the reason that I got the cello or bass. It was cello, though. I lived across the street from the elementary school, so I didn't have to carry it 2 blocks or 3 blocks. Like
Right.
some of the other kids that had to carry their violins, clarinets, flutes, you know, that's easy to handle, right?
But even the bass, right? You could
Bass
almost
is
just
huge.
You could have carried the bass across the street. They put
probably not.
They put a little wheel on
It
them.
might have been a talent thing, too. I had none. You know, they might have had a bass player that could keep time. I don't recall, you know.
Interesting.
So-
you would have to keep time with the cello as well.
Well, I know, but I mean, I wouldn't be part of the rhythm section as strong a part of the rhythm.
Right.
You know,
That's
and who
true.
could,
That's true.
what's 8-year-old is, well, I shouldn't say what 8-year-old. We've seen brilliant 5-year-olds, you know. So, yeah, if you got it, you got it.
You know,
I had to learn it.
There's something funny that. What is your opinion about this? Like those child prodigies. I mean, Mozart aside, right? For the most part, a lot of those videos that you go back and you see these kids on America's Got Talent or whatever it is, and these shows, and you go, these prodigal kids, and then then you never see them again. Like, for the most part. I mean, I'm sure that there's some exceptions. I'm sure that, I don't know, Jodie Foster or something, right?
Oh,
it's sort of, made it from child actor to great prominence in her field. But for the most part, when these kids that almost, the kind of kids that are done with college by the time they're 12, and, like what happens to them when they get going too quickly?
That's a good question. I've pondered that with so many people, because my theory, and I'm going to include Elvis Presley in this and Michael Jackson too.
Were they? Well, Michael Jackson, certainly. That's a good point. Actually, he's a great example.
Yes. And the reason I'm saying this is, I'm just going to say people that have this great success and great talent
early,
before they've reached puberty. Or as they're reaching puberty, or basically
it just fucks
while
with
their
their
mind
heads.
is still being formed,
Yeah.
Look,
it messes with them.
Yeah.
It's not right.
I won't go into this too far, but I was friends and roommates with Freddie Prinze, who, rose to stardom in a
really
hurry.
Quickly. That's right.
Yeah.
Chico and the Man, baby.
Chico and the Man.
Yeah.
I read his pilot script.
He's a great stand-up too. He was a really good stand-up. Yeah.
Well, that's how he got it.
Right.
He'd never acted a day in his life.
So we are now back to what I was saying before, which is the nature of that light, of that white light, of the star meter, and of the social media prominence, and of fame. I mean, let's just say what we're talking about. We're talking about fame.
Sure.
So that, and I've had this conversation too, which is that I don't think there's anything positive. You're going to be able to find anecdotal things like, I can walk into a restaurant and sit down anytime or whatever. You're going to be able to find little stupid anecdotal things where fame will help you. But I'm just saying, in anything bigger than that, than some kind of superficial, I didn't have to wait in line at Disneyland. Like, other than that, fame serves no positive role in the world. Zero.
Yeah.
And right now, social media is like fame on steroids. Like all of a sudden, all of us are famous potentially. Like everybody, you can film somebody tripping and falling, and all of a sudden you've got millions of viewers, and you're now famous, and you walk around and people recognize you, and it's like, and what have you done really, even, right? I mean, I don't good on them. I don't begrudge that person their success, but I'm just saying, fame itself is this. I've not had anybody be able to explain to me how it's, the usual answer is, you won't have to audition so much anymore, and your career will. And I'm like, really? I mean, but to what end? So in other words, so I'm famous now. If I'm famous and I still am not good at what I do, I have the same ceiling that I had before, right? The same limitations that I had before. If I'm an actor and I can only go so far and I'm not pushing myself as an artist, that fame might get me into rooms. It might even get me on sets. It might even get me into movies just alone. But ultimately, people are gonna see through it. They're gonna see through and they're gonna say, well, we've had enough of that. And now you're at 180 degrees. So now your fame is turned on its head, and now you're even lower than you would have been anyway, because you were famous. So now you're not only as low as you are, but you're now low compared to what you were. So you're even lower than you would have been anyway.
Right.
And so I've forgive me for ranting, but I've thought about this. It's a fame. It's like there's a you know, even the notoriety, it's a weird thing. Like, even if I'm, you know, if like you and I are at the Twin Peaks Festival or something, and like, you know, like every once in a while, I'm sure you would like look over and you would notice somebody just like staring at you, right?
Oh, yeah.
And they would be looking over, and it would be weird, and it would be like, you know, and they'd be like, that's the guy that fucking disappears, and then, you know, whatever, and it's like, is that him? Are you sure that's him? I don't know, because it could be him. I think it's him, like, you know. And so there's that weird thing that's going on where you're kind of like this hunk of meat or whatever, this side of beef that is being sort of glared at. Really, you're not being connected with, and in fact, if you lock eyes with them, they might look away. And so it's this weird, so like a famous person, like a really famous person, that's their life all the time. And so how is that anything but in the way of like connecting and working and loving and, you know, all of the things that we know are actually important? It's not. It's in the way of those things.
It is in the way of those things. And when you're younger and you become a cash cow,
that's right,
you're going to be used that way. Well, I mean,
thanks for bringing us back to the point. Yeah, Stewart.
Yeah.
No, you did. Thank you. You're exactly right.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a friend now that actually worked with Jimi Hendrix towards the end, and he says Jimmy just couldn't take. He was being pulled all the time, directions.
From what I can see, he was just a really sensitive soul, and just a, you know,
and he just had no time for himself,
right,
at that point,
right,
you know, and
you know, why do you think these stars go off to these like retreats, you know, and they just do all this wacky shit, and they get into, you know, wacky culty things, you know, because it's like, it's not normal.
My mother, speaking of things like that, my mom, who passed away a couple of years ago, but she went to these farms in Tecate, down just past the border. I don't know. I don't want to use...
Like in Baja?
Yeah, Baja, wherever they'd be, like spas and retreats.
Oh, right, okay.
I hate to call them fat farms, but, you know.
I see what you're dancing around now.
Yeah,
are you calling your mother fat?
No, my mother was never fat. She always looked great.
Okay, good.
But she did go there for, you know, respite, say.
Yes.
You know,
pleasantly
Anthony
plump
Hopkins.
farms.
She met Anthony Hopkins.
Okay.
So that was the bottom line, kind of what you're talking about. And this was
now the story is important because now Anthony Hopkins is in it.
Here we go. Well,
your mother was not enough.
he was going to quit acting.
Yeah.
He was down there. This was around the time he made Magic, which I loved, with Anne Margaret. If you remember
I haven't
that,
seen
he
it.
plays a ventriloquist who's definitely lost his marble. Oh, brilliant.
Okay,
movie.
I'll go
And
watch
Burgess
that.
Meredith, I believe, was in it too.
Playing the dummy. No.
Yeah, no, you know,
Who's better than Anthony Hopkins, for God's sake?
oh my goodness, no
Nobody's
one.
better than that
Yeah.
guy.
And this was before he really became a big star here. Maybe, you know, I'm sure he'd already done all this masterful stage work. He'd probably been in movies I just hadn't seen.
Right.
But Magic was the one that kind of got me. So he was down there, and he told my mom and their friends, you know, whoever, he was thinking about just leaving the acting business altogether at that point.
I will tell you something. I will. This reminds me of myself, strangely enough, and I will tell you that I went into the Barry audition.
Yeah.
And the first audition, I fucked it up so bad. Like I'd prepared. In fact, I'd had another pilot audition that morning. You know, I'd prepared for two pilots.
Wow.
And in the first one, I was so excited about the Barry one that oh no, I'm sorry, that's for the callback. I'm screwing the story up. So I had gone in for the audition. I had prepared for it in the normal way. And I went up on my lines about like 2 lines into it. I'm like, well, that's fucked up. All right, sorry. So I go back, you know, Sherry Thomas, the casting director, or, you know, head of when it's a big show like that, it's not an assistant anymore. It's like the casting director you're working with. So, in all of her years of experience. And so she was like, it's fine, John, just let's start over again. So we start over again, and I go up again. And I just didn't know what the hell was going on. And I looked at, you know, I mean, if you know what's going on, like I didn't prepare. And then you're like, all right, well, you get what's coming to you, and you don't prepare. It's like, no, I prepared for this. This doesn't make any sense. And so I said to her, I got to go take a walk. I got to walk around. And I left the room, and I went down to the end of the hallway. And she's like, whatever you need, John. Yeah. And so I came, tell me when you want to come back. It doesn't matter. We'll move on, and you just come back in when you want. And so I came back in again, and I just got through it. In my mind, all I did was get through it. In my mind, the only positive thing you could say about it is that I got all of the lines correct. And I walked out of there. Absolutely. I called my girlfriend and I was like, I'm so fucking over acting. I'm going to quit. I hate this. I'll never get this job in a million years. I hate the way I feel right now. I'm absolutely miserable. This is soul crushingly awful. This meant a lot. I allowed this thing to mean something to me, and I let it mean something to me, and that was my first mistake, was fucking letting it mean something, because as soon as this means something to you, it gets taken away from you and then rips your heart out, and god damn it, I fucking hate this shit. And I think I don't remember hardly any of this conversation, but she reminds me. She's like, you said, at one point you said, I'm just gonna go back to being a waiter. And then I was like, I'm too old to be a waiter. I can't even be a waiter anymore. I can't do anything. Oh, now I am clipping, huh? Now I'm clipping.
But anyway, went dark. Go ahead.
So the point is that from there, of course, the end of the story is that I got a call back. And it's like what Pacino says in Godfather 3, and then they pull you back in, And it's like, oh man. So at that point, I had 3 days. I became single-minded. I did nothing but prepare for that callback. Nothing. I literally could say my lines backwards, apropos of David Lynch. I couldn't say the line itself backwards, but I could say in the order. I could do them randomly. You could tell me a line, and I could tell you the other person's line before and after. So I've never been more prepared. It was like 3 days of immersion, and I got in there. And obviously did a good enough job that I got the job. I mean, one of the producers said to me afterwards that she was like, she said, and whatever, just to finish up the story, at the end of it, I finally let go of everything, because on this one more, Bill said, let's do one more take of that last part. And so I went and did it, and I kind of went up on my lines. But instead of being horrified, I was gleeful. I was just like I'm looking at you right now, right into the eyes of Sherry Thomas. And I said to Sherry, she looked at me like, oh, it's your line. And I was like, so comfortable. I've never been more comfortable in an audition. And I just started improvising. And then Bill Hader, who's, God love him, he just laughs and laughs. He's such a great laugher. I just love him so much. He's the best ego boost that you could ever want around, because he just he laughs, man, and he laughs hard. And so finished it up, walked out of there. And that's how this thing works. Like just when I'm ready to just get the fuck out, because it is killing me. It's literally killing my soul. That happens, and then it's the highest high that it could possibly be. And I'm telling you, here's what was driving me on that audition, on that callback. My single thought had nothing to do with getting the job. Zero. In fact, I assumed that I wouldn't get the job. I assumed that it would go to somebody more famous than me. We're back to that. I assumed that it would go to somebody with more experience than me, because it was a big role. And so my only goal was to prove to Sherry Thomas, the casting director, that she was not wrong for calling me in. That was the only thing. So that I was thinking toward the future, like, okay, I'm not going to get this job, but you're going to go, okay, that was an anomaly when he came for the audition. He prepares and he knows what he's doing, so I will call him back again. And that's what drove me to go through it. And so then, then I walked out of there just on top of the world. And that's the fucking ride that this is. I mean, that's from the lowest lows to where I'm Anthony Hopkins down in Mexico, ready to quit acting, to like, I love this more than anything else that I've ever done. This is where my soul lives,
Now, me hearing that from you, I think it's a great story. That's a brilliant story, really, about just not giving a fuck at that point, or you gave a fuck, but you're saying, that you just
I went into my work, right? Like I prepared, which is what we do. Actors, most of what we do, the vast majority of what we do is prepare, right? And so, like, I went into into the minutia of that element of it, which is tangible to me. The other stuff is not. I'm going to
say something after knowing you, or getting to know you a bit, then seeing you on Barry. It seemed obvious to me, I don't know if I asked you this before, that you were improving going into a scene. There were a couple things I heard you say, like when you were maybe in the pit, detective's office.
Oh, just like talking to those other cops. That was a funny thing. I was like,
were you?
Well, yeah, but I mean, but to me, it seemed weird because there's I don't want to get in trouble here, but there's it's kind of known that if those guys who are extras, if they act, they're going to get paid more money. And so they're going to go from being an extra to being, a day player. And so it's not as simple as that guy's there, you can talk to him. But we did a take, and I'm just looking at them and I'm going, so I said, can I talk to them? It's weird to sit here and not talk to them. And they're like, sure, okay, good. Now I have my permission. So then I just started talking to them.
Oh,
and it's funny. It's funny that you would say that. There was one joke that I thought of, which is probably a whole nother conversation we can have about my journey on Barry, which is the idea of moving away from jokes, and getting deeper and sort of the comedy is there because it's written by
comedy's in the drawing.
It's all the way there, and there's nothing I need to do to fix it. Yeah. And so just get smaller and smaller and smaller. That's what no matter what happens on Barry in the future, I've already, I don't know, but I think if I learn nothing else on that show, to get smaller and smaller and smaller is now especially on comedy. Yeah. Like to me, I knew that, I guess, about drama, but with comedy, it's the same. If the comedy's well written, and if you it doesn't even have to be well written. If you trust the material, which I endeavor to do, and it didn't take any effort to trust that material, you just get smaller and smaller and smaller. But remember, there's one joke that I never had the balls to do because I'm sitting there teetering on trying to be in there and be present and not have it be about me, right? Have it be about like we're here together. So for me, the joke, all of a sudden, once a joke starts blaring in my mind, it becomes very loud, and then it's sort of like, what am I doing, right? I'm making a joke instead of being present in this scene. So, but the joke that I thought would have been really funny would have been like, hey, have any of you guys seen my gun? And I just thought that was a fucking, and so the more I thought, I had that thought and I didn't say it, and then the more I thought about it, like when I was sitting there in subsequent takes, I was like, I can't say it. Did your thing shut off again?
No, we're good. Let me just close this.
You don't want to turn me off
We're
again?
We're good.
I will take that. I'm flattered that you don't want to turn me off, by the way, so thank you.
Why would I?
I don't know, because I'm babbling.
Well, let me ask you, okay, so we know there's some improv in Barry, at least a little bit. You're speaking
only a little bit, by the way, so much, and people say that about like the Lynch stuff too. They go, oh my God, that was so brilliant that you put your hand up and did the cry thing. David Lynch just said do that.
Yeah.
He said to do. So your first assumption when you see me and Barry is that they wrote it. That Alec and Bill came up with how it would go down, that the director was involved. Like, assume that first. Some of the times it'll be something I did, but in that atmosphere, they had a very clear vision of what they wanted. The writing is almost verbatim. Every once in a while, there's a little powwow about like, what should we do here? And in those scenarios, just a few of them, I felt privileged to be collaborating. We'd be sitting in a circle. Well, she could say this, or what if she says this, or whatever. And that was, that really felt like a privilege to be able to collaborate with those guys. But yeah, most of my opinion about improv is that it isn't even really about anything you ever say. It's about being present in that moment and being sort of truthful and present in that moment. And that's kind of what improv is to me. And if I end up saying something, then that's just kind of extraneous, that just happens.
Well, like I say, I noticed it basically at the head of a scene, like maybe before the action really took place, but it seemed like after knowing you a bit, that just came off the top of your head or something like that.
Well, when we were rehearsing, I remember one time I did improvise something, and Bill laughed so hard, and then when we were leaving the rehearsal, he said, now don't forget to do that when we're shooting, which incredibly flattering. I mean, that was kind of early on in the process of season one. And I I just remember thinking, oh wow, maybe I'm actually funny. Bill Hader is not only laughing at what I did, but reminding me to do it when we shoot. That's almost like writing.
So that was a real vote of confidence.
Yeah. It was sort of, I mean, I said maybe that the one thing that I'm going to learn to getting smaller and smaller and smaller. I think I have some more confidence that maybe I'm funny, right? Because, it's one thing to be sort of funny in your circle of friends or, in an improv show or whatever. And it's another thing to be funny up on that level, up on that big stage. And then furthermore, it's to then not take that too seriously.
Well, you're working with such an accomplished cast.
They're amazing.
Stephen Root.
Unbelievable.
I'm just going to say that guy, it doesn't matter what he does.
No.
Drama, comedy, in the middle. He's the man at all of it.
He is unbelievable. And I have had the privilege to go to watch him deconstruct scenes and watch his process and watch how he gets to places. And it's been like a masterclass, being able to watch him work and work with him and have his, we did this great, we're shooting season 2 right now.
Yeah.
And he did that. We had this great scene together. And I can tell you, I've never felt better, than that scene that I did with him. I mean, there's other ones that were equal, but it was like his generosity as an actor and his presence and him sort of like, it's funny I don't want to give anything away, but anyway, like that.
Okay, let me ask you a couple. When is Barry going to air? Second season?
You sound like my mother. There's no way to know that.
They haven't.
I don't.
You don't know a schedule yet or anything.
No.
Okay, hey,
you can. And especially now, I think that paradigm, whatever paradigm there was before of being able to, schedule out when things might air. Even that's been. I mean, think about when The Sopranos was on, and David Chase would be like, you'll get him when I'm done.
Exactly. Let's go to Larry David.
And Larry David, you'll get him when I'm done.
Skip a season or two.
That's right. I'd skip him if I want, and you get him when I'm done. And I think it's kind of like that now, where you just don't know.
Well, there's a built-in audience, right? I mean, at this point, and a lot
They've
of
won
new
Emmys,
people come in.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and we're talking about awards from whatever perspective, but it is Bill Hader and Henry Winkler that won 2 acting awards for Barry.
Henry Winkler is a magical creature. I don't even know I'm sure it sounds very obvious, but I mean, when I was a kid, he was the Fonz.
Oh, me too.
And he was the biggest.
Well, we're around the same age, but yes.
He was just the biggest deal, to me was, I was literally, it's not like I'm aware of his celebrity. I was a Fonzie guy. Like I remember Davin Charlton down the street his family was able to buy him the Fonzie jacket that Kmart had for sale or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But we didn't have enough money and I just wanted a Fonzie jacket so bad. So anyway, the idea that not only would I get to work with him like I did in season 1, I was in a scene and we kind of made eye contact for a second, just to be around him and be in table reads with him was huge. He's just the most wonderful guy. He you know what he said to me? He said, when I told him that story that I told you about auditioning for Barry, we're in a parking lot at Sony, and just the 2 of us, like walking back to our cars, and he heard that story and he said, well, it's the doubt that makes you an artist.
The doubt.
It's the doubt that makes you an artist, which, nobody's ever given me better advice than that. I mean, that stays with me. It doesn't make it easier. It doesn't make what I have to do easier, but at least I'm able to sort of talk myself down a little bit more effectively because I can just say, well, okay, this is part of it. This doubt is Henry Winkler said so. This is just kind of part of the deal, and I just need to ride it out until it's not there anymore and do my best to, So that's like a huge little gift that he gave me.
Huge. So,
and then this season, for season 2, I have this great scene with him, so far, and just a wonderful sitting 2 feet away from each other, and this Sarah Burns is a new actor on the show, and she's just fucking amazing. Yeah, amazing improviser, amazing actor. Yeah, Sarah Burns, and the three of us are in there just in tight quarters doing this great
What
thing.
is her role, if I may ask?
She's a new addition to the police station.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, real good. Yeah. Well, we don't want to go any further.
No.
John and I both had to keep Twin Peaks a secret.
Was that stunning?
Yeah.
I don't know that we'll ever go through something like that again. It was like we couldn't even, remember there was a whole period of time where we couldn't even say that we were working on it.
Correct.
For me, there was a whole period.
No, for everyone.
Right, for everyone. So there was a whole period where you couldn't even say you were on it, and then something got released on social media that gave a list of the cast members.
Before the show aired.
At which point we could say, okay, that's true, I did work on it, but nothing else. You couldn't say who your character was, how many episodes. We didn't even know how many episodes. Because we couldn't talk about something you didn't know.
Well, when you want to talk about doubt and, I've always had that.
Yeah.
Lots of it, I suppose.
Well, then you must be an artist.
I guess. But, wow. The evening the Twin Peaks premiered, May 17th, right? I believe?
Yeah, that's
2017.
Right.
I had no idea if I was going to make the cut.
Oh, sure.
I was an uncredited background actor, extra in that show. So I had no idea.
Are you still?
I never received credit for that. So.
Really? You're not listed on IMDb?
No, I'm not. Well, not credited. I'm listed. In fact, in parentheses, it says uncredited Black Lodge Woodsman.
But when the cast rolls up at the end of the part, it doesn't.
Not once. Never.
Huh.
And because we had no credits, that would be most of the Woodsman, other than Robert Broski.
Sure.
Who was upgraded.
So Christian's not credited?
No, he's not.
Oh, interesting.
No. And so what was I? Oh, because we weren't credited, we were never put on that role the first time. Mm-hmm. No one knew anything about the Woodsman,
right?
Or
of course,
the actors that played him. Until they saw me on the screen, and no one knew who I was. And again, I didn't get credit, and it wasn't called the Woodsman yet.
Right.
So it was all mystery.
What is Robert called?
He's called the Woodsman.
Woodsman.
Woodsman. Yeah, in part 8, where, when he got his first credit.
Part 8, man. How about part 8?
Oh,
good gracious.
Yes. Amazing artistry in that one. And
unbelievable.
to say the very least. But again, I'm kind of looking, I look at things like we're moving forward. Look, without Twin Peaks, I probably wouldn't be talking to you right now. I mean, even...
Seems unlikely.
Yeah, it would be fairly unlikely. But
you're like a nice person.
We met on the street, yeah.
If we met on the street, I would get a good sense about you.
Yeah, and looking at the way you're dressed, I'd offer you a cup of coffee or $1 or $2,
Fair enough, and I'd be grateful, and I'd say thank you.
And that's all I'd be asking for.
Oh, I love it. Just get away.
Yeah.
He smells weird. It's time to get out of here.
There you go. Anyway, as far as what you were talking about, how extras can't talk, you can't talk to them.
Yeah.
I haven't done background work only since the last episode of I'm Dying Up Here. I worked on that show for 2 seasons. There's a lot of parallels to what you've been talking about. It was about the early comedy scene in the 70s, Comedy Store,
Mitzi
Tonight
Shore,
Show.
and like all that stuff. Yeah, of course.
And
what's her face from Vermont?
Ari Grainer.
No, the woman that runs the club.
Melissa Leo.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved working with Melissa Leo.
Oh, she's the best.
Absolutely.
Oh my God! And the fighter? Are you kidding me?
Oh,
are you kidding me?
She's
like, you owe me $20.
Yeah.
She says to one of her daughters, and you owe me $20. And I was like, oh my God. She's listed as being from Vermont, like me.
I think she is.
Yeah.
In fact, she drives a Subaru.
Yeah,
that's
right.
Subaru?
Or a Saab, probably. It's one of those two.
No, she used to pull up in, I think it might have been an Outback. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But hey, That was like being in a master class every day I was with her.
She's so great.
And
she's amazing.
you'd hear an accent coming from some part of the room. Could be Russian, could be a variety of things. And you turn around and you'd see Melissa, you know.
Yeah.
Actually, while we were working on the show, I watched her in All the Way with Bryan Cranston playing LBJ. She was Lady Bird.
Right.
I didn't know that she was in it yet. And I was watching it 20 minutes and then realizing, wait a minute, I just worked with her last night. 20 minutes before I realized it was her.
She's the real deal. She absolutely disappears in what she's doing. That's what I would want for a career. I would want what she has.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that Sir Anthony Hopkins would want that too if he could. You know, he's in some other realm now. But Melissa is gonna work forever. You know, like Helen Mirren or whatever, she'll work, you know, until she's 100 years old, and you will. Most people outside of our thing don't know her name.
True.
And
Academy Award winner, by the way.
Academy Award winner, but that allows her to be a character actor and to disappear into roles and to have a longevity of career and to not have that weird fame thing, right?
Yeah.
Not have that carry the movie thing,
That's
not
true.
have that big thing
Not
on
a
your
movie
shoulders
star.
beyond, not a movie star, even though she is a movie star.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'm just saying she is able to. That's what you want. You want what Melissa has.
Yeah.
You know, and that gets better and better with every job that she does. You'll never see her coasting. You'll never see a frame where she's not in it, and she's going to work forever because she's great.
I'll tell you what, she's also demanding in a good way. I mean, I've seen her, you know, get a little upset here and there. I won't go into that too much, but it's always about an actor who's inconsistent from take to take, who maybe was a bartender whose mark is here to put a drink down, but then he puts it in another spot. And she, you know, maybe it got by the director, but these things didn't get by Melissa. Details.
I watched Pacino do that. It was mind blowing to me. I watched Pacino do exactly that, where he came out and the cameras were set up and everything was ready to go, and he was like, "Wait a minute, we weren't here. We were over here." And I was like, "Jesus Christ, that is with all he's got going on in his head. He's carrying this movie."
Yeah.
And they went and looked, and they were like, he was right. They were like a foot off or something, you know, and. You know, that level of, I mean, to your point, I mean, to be at the level that she's at, and then on top of that, I mean, maybe that's how you get to that level, right? Is that you're so in it that you know, I mean, I feel like if I'm staring at your desk right now with the things that are on your desk, and, you know, if we were in here for a couple hours, I feel like I could probably replace those things on your desk pretty close to what they are now, you know.
Well, that's cool.
If you go, I mean, couldn't you? If you stared at it over and over again?
If I'm looking at it in that light, and things are here pretty randomly, although they kind of have places, so they're not that random. Actually, it's kind of
there's a
some
method to
thought
your
in
madness.
This. Yeah, some thought. In it.
I remember when I was a kid once, my mom was like, "Your room is such a mess. What is wrong with you? Your room is such a mess." And I said, "Well, name something that I own." And she said, "You know, whatever. You're a teddy bear." And I went and like lifted up a blanket and like, here it is, you know, and just like I knew where everything was.
You knew where it was. Sure.
It looks like a mess to you. To you, it looks like a mess.
I wish I could say I knew where everything was. Oh man.
I bet you do. I bet you know where everything is in this room.
Oh, sometimes I'll spend so much wasted time looking for something. Although whenever I'm looking for something, it's always in the last place I looked.
Look at your fan art. That's unbelievable.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, John's looking at a few of the things that have been sent to me from fans.
That they mailed you. That is amazing, Stewart.
Yeah, well,
beautiful.
I'm quite humbled by all of it, you know. He's actually seeing Pen and Ink by Ryan Carr, artist out of Ventura. The painting beside it is from Mark Zandi. He lives in North Bend. He probably watched you filming.
Okay.
I wouldn't doubt it at all. And then the third one over is from Vinny Guidera, who's an artist, musician. You met
We know Vinny. Yeah, he comes
yeah.
to the fest.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
totally.
he lives up in Sacramento, I believe, or that area, generally. So
Yeah, and he was-
hey, this has been the most flattering thing. There's actually a sculpture. I think you may have seen the sculpture at one of the Comic-Cons. I brought it to Long Beach.
What are those shoes?
The shoes actually have my eyes in them. My friend Tom
Your
Wright.
what?
Yeah, pictures of my eyes are in the front of those shoes.
Wait, so that's all one piece of work there, the shoes and the statue.
No.
in the middle. Oh, those are two
separate,
things separate. Okay.
And full disclosure, the sculpture, all the art you see in here, I had nothing to do with any of it. The shoes, and now there's actually kind of an outfit. A new friend, a guy named Tom Wright, artist, a wonderful artist, Tom Wright. Tom E, middle initial E, Wright. He's been in some exhibits lately, art galleries and such, but he's had an illustrious career.
Sure.
He asked me to get him like some white sneakers, white overalls, and a white hoodie because he wanted to just do his thing with them. So I happen to have those shoes are some New Balance shoes I just never liked at all. They never really fit me well. So
Is it like when you're a little baby and they dip your shoes?
Yeah,
and
you could
is it
say
like that kind of thing?
I could wear them.
Seriously?
Them. Oh, yeah.
Get out of
they're
here.
12 and a half. Do you wear 12 and a half? You can wear them. John, yeah, go ahead, sure. I've never, I might have put them on for a picture when he first did them. But I won't touch the laces or anything else just because they've got layers of art.
Yeah, of course. I'm holding them very, very carefully, just by the edges of the bottom. Oh my God, those are your eyes.
Yeah, he took a photo.
These are amazing.
Something for my eyes, and
Absolutely amazing.
yeah, for anyone that doesn't know me from Twin Peaks, and I would imagine a lot of people don't know who I am from Twin Peaks. It was my eyes that were held really wide open in the opening scenes that I was in.
Right.
Or opening scene.
And he probably
I should
said
say.
that to you, right? Like bug your eyes out.
No, he didn't actually.
Nice.
That was one of my
Nice,
my
Stewart.
contributions.
Here's the thing. This guy made this beautiful art and then gave it to you.
Yes.
See,
Well-
to me, that's what I'm shooting for. My goal is to be in league with this guy. What's his name again?
Tom Wright.
Tom Wright. So with Tom Wright to me is, no one who's going to see this. It's in your bedroom, over on your, I get to see it. So it's like there's a little lizard on there. This is an absolutely magnificent piece of art that he must have, God knows how long he took making it, and then gave it to you.
Yeah.
And it just, no money, no recognition.
Well, I don't want to quite go that far with Tom. Tom is a professional, but we are friends, so I do something for him. He does something for me.
Okay, well, there you go.
He came up with the concept, I don't know if you saw a shirt I made a while ago, where I'm kind of poking my head through some hedges.
Oh, yeah.
And that was Tom's idea.
Nice.
Yeah.
You have seized the day on this Twin Peaks thing.
Hey.
And Robert and Christian, I'm humbled by your seizing this moment, in a way that I just don't.
I think it just looks so different from the other side of the street, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because I see somebody who was a principal actor in a David Lynch series, that's you,
Yeah.
who is now an actor on probably the biggest HBO series of this last year, and hopefully the next few years to come.
Yeah.
That's what I see. A guy who's on a Geico national commercial.
Went 2 cycles.
Okay, well, you never know with those guys.
No, that's true.
But just the same, looking at your background, knowing that you've done voiceover work, knowing your improv background, I look at it like, man, this guy's there. You know,
But when
he's
you
a
and
working actor. That's
I am
the
a
key.
working actor.
That's the key.
That is true. I do work, and I do have a pension coming and health insurance, and
It's more than most of us.
I'm blessed. I'm grateful. It's
Yeah.
very true. I will say though, if you and I are at Bob's Big Boy
Yeah.
with the crew, you know, with all the Twin Peaks people, like the things that Josh puts together, right?
Yeah.
And we're all sitting there. There's no like, we're not at different ends of the table. There's not like a section for principal actors
Oh,
and actors with
absolutely.
big eyes, you know.
Yeah,
I mean, there's
yeah, right.
we don't, you know, it wouldn't even occur to any of us to separate each other in that way, right? We kind of have this thing that we all contributed to,
Yeah.
and that is what sustains, that is what remains, not the amount that somebody was in it or not in it or whatever. The fact that we all went through this thing together,
Yeah.
and here we are having burgers at Bob's Big Boy,
Yeah.
you know, that's what's significant to me. And so that once again, the common thread here is that whole fame, you know, and recognition and the size of your part and how long is your trailer and how, you know, all of that stuff is just, I believe it is it's there to make you work harder to be an artist. It's there to distract you and to try to pull you away from, as with anything that I think is important, it's there to pull you away so that you work harder because it's that important. So to me, I think of what I do as life and death, because otherwise I would not stick with it the way that I do. You know, if it weren't life and death, I have to treat it that important. So this whole game or whatever this is that we're living right now, I believe that's an important element of it, is that we are pulled away from it. We are distracted by these shiny things, these whirly gigs all the time, because, and the deeper you get in it, that's why you end up walking down Sunset Boulevard in your underwear with a handgun, because it's crazy making. That stuff is not real, and that's why I cannot fathom what it's like once you get up to Melissa's level, or then you get up to, you know, Martin Lawrence. I think I was referring to Martin Lawrence just now, but maybe not. So when you're an artist, and when all of a sudden you are on the billboards and in that fame thing, it's harder and harder and harder to remain being the artist. That's why you have to. That's why Dave Chappelle leaves. He walks away from $50 million because that guy is on a different level. He is answering to a different muse than fame. He is true to himself, right? And that is the hardest thing, I think, to do for all of us, for you, for me. That's why it doesn't make any sense to me to parse out how many episodes I was in, or how many parts. I think David doesn't like to say episodes, but how many parts we were in, because it's one movie to him, right? And you know, or what other shows I'm on. I'm grateful to have those opportunities, but in terms of what you and I do, none of that stuff matters.
Not at all.
It's just in the way, like that bright light of those things. I mean, think about it. Like when you see Barry, what you see has almost nothing to do with my experience of it, right? My experience of it is wholly what went before that, like making it, like being on the set and auditioning, being in the parking lot with Henry Winkler, and you know, all of these things are what that show is to me. And then to you, it's something different, and that's great. Yeah, that's awesome. But like what plays on HBO has almost nothing to do with I can't even see myself in it, right? Like I see myself in it, and it's a distraction. It's sort of like I'm pulled out of the show for a second, right?
That's interesting. Well, you know, every actor's different, right? Every performer's different. John Lennon didn't like the sound of his voice.
That's right.
You know?
That's exactly right. I don't like to go and look at, I don't like to see, every once in a while I'll have to go over and ask them to do a replay of something because I wasn't sure about, you know, the framing of it, or there's the timing of it or something, and I dread having to do that because my ego wants me to go look at every one. Were you good? Were you good? Were you good? You know, that's my ego talking. But really, bigger, the higher voice is like, just, there's other people who are in charge of that.
Yeah.
If it was not good, there's layers of people who are going to say something, and then the director will get back to you and let you know that you need to go it again. It's not your job.
Right.
It's not your job to know what just happened.
Yeah, you just give it the best you can.
That's right.
You know, considering that most of what I've done in TV and film is background, and it's all about reacting to me. And I've been to one of your improv classes, a few of them now, actually.
Thank you.
But to me, being good background is all about reaction time. It's all about improv. No one ever hands me a script or sides. Rarely do they even tell you what the scene's going to be
Which
about.
is why almost always background ruins movies, because your presence and you being there and present, you cannot make up for the fact that there's 3 people around you that are trying to inch their way into the scene and trying to like, you know, making eye contact with the camera or whatever it is. There's nothing you can do about that. And it's sort of set up, and once again, it's that fame thing. What the fame thing is drawing people that are not really, this is not a calling for them, for some of these people, right? You'll it's a mixed bag, right?
Yeah.
There's people that are trying to go to be actors, and there's people that's trying to get seen and trying to have hits and trying to have whatever.
I gotta say, I mean, I'm friends with a lot of people in the background community. It's like a social club, and it's fun. And you see the same people on a lot of jobs. I know some people of retirement age and such, they don't do it for the money. They don't even want to be in the union. I mean, they really just want to work all the time to be on a set, visit their friends, and that's great. I mean, there's no place else like a set,
no place like it.
So,
and even that is a distraction, because even that is sort of like, when I'm on a set, it's like I would rather be at the party than be doing my work, right? I would be, you know, a couple of times it's happened where like I'll all of a sudden be talking to somebody, or like a PA wants to talk to me, and we're having a conversation now, and then after about a couple of minutes I realize, okay, my head is getting pulled out of the thing that I have to do, and I need to like gracefully remove myself from the situation and get back to what I'm doing. At the same time, I don't, who am I? I'm not placing myself above that person. I just have a job to do. He or she obviously can afford to do that in that moment and still get their job done, and me, not so much.
I'm going to say it takes a little while to learn that etiquette.
Yeah.
To kind of the procedure and what an actor is actually going through when they walk on that set.
Yeah.
And
it's a balancing act.
Yeah, I think the first thing I worked background in was Staying Alive.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The sequel?
Yeah, the sequel to Saturday Night Fever. And I didn't know, and like I said, I'd already been friends with these folks, hung out at the Comedy Store and backstage at the Tonight Show, for that matter.
Right.
So, Travolta, Stallone, I mean, what did I care?
That's great.
Yeah, but I didn't know the etiquette, and I was in various scenes, so I would like maybe say something to Travolta between takes and notice this.
Well, here's the thing. There's not an etiquette. I don't know that there is. I mean, to me, I equate
hierarchy.
it to.
How's that?
I don't even think it is a hierarchy. I just think that it is like, just as I need to be respectful of what a PA is doing or what a grip is doing, certainly, what the DP is doing, and like I need to be respectful of their job and not do something that takes them away from what they're doing.
Right.
They would be the same, but there's no hierarchy. I think it's. I don't feel
background.
I don't feel it, and it may be there, but I don't acknowledge it. I don't. To me, a background actor has a job to do. I have a job to do. The grip has a job to do. Everybody has a job to do, and that to me is what is beautiful about what I do, and what I'm the most grateful for is that nowhere else in my life can that amount of people come together. And all, regardless of anything, regardless of their political leanings or their gender or their race or their socioeconomic whatever, it doesn't matter. The age, it doesn't matter. Regardless of all of that stuff, all of these people are focused on one thing.
Oh, yeah.
And all of the people have an equal, generally speaking, have an equal commitment to that one thing, which is the show.
Yeah.
The movie, whatever it is.
The
shot.
one shot.
Everybody has a commitment to that shot. So all of the bustling around in my preparation, and I'm here over here, and now I'm here, and now they're putting makeup on me, and they're fixing my hair, and they're going to, whatever in the background, actors are all getting settled, and all of that stuff. Everybody's working toward action.
Yes.
And having that go as well as it possibly can. And that is absolutely beautiful to me. And so it does not serve me to parse out who's more important than anybody else.
I don't
because
mean it that way.
Everybody's equally important to me.
Exactly.
And by the way, just for me, and it's selfish, I am, and I know I'm not criticizing you. I'm just saying that for me, I am, it does not serve me to think of it that way.
Sure.
And as soon as I start gravitating toward a thought like that, or like, oh, well, this is the line for food for extras, I'm not gonna.
Oh, yeah.
So my point being is that it does, the real thing that we're there for is not served by the hierarchy. It's not served by it. It doesn't, it may be there, but I don't acknowledge it. And I don't, and I'll wait for somebody else to come along and tell me that I've had people pull me out of the, line and say, you need to jump the line. And I'm like, I'm not going to fucking jump the line. People are hungry. Everybody's equally hungry. My hunger is not more important. They're like, the deal is that you need to be done eating. If you're not done eating in makeup and costume and ready to go, and any spills on your fucking shirt that you got, we need time to take care of that, then it holds the show up. And those are the words I need to hear. Okay, fuck it, it holds the show up, fine.
Right.
But just because I've jumped the line at that point, I haven't jumped the line because I'm more important, because my job that I have to do might require that.
Right. We're all on different schedules.
All on different schedules. That's a good way to put it.
Here's kind of where I was going.
Yeah.
When I first started doing background or on a movie set, I didn't realize that there's a stand-in that comes in for the actor, and then the actor comes in and knows his lines, but hasn't necessarily walked from mark to mark or light to light.
Right.
And so they've got so much more than just dialogue and interaction.
That's right.
That I don't want to distract that actor, and so.
Well, why would you? I mean, why would you even have to say
I'm
that?
Just saying, early on, I might have done that, not really realizing. And
I see what you're saying.
And there is a certain.
I mean, who among us would purposely distract somebody?
Well, yeah, you wouldn't. But are you aware of how much they've got to be doing?
I'll tell you where I learned about what you're talking about right now.
Yeah.
Where I learned that was driving a cab. When I drove a cab, I am quite sure, as a sort of recovering narcissist, I mean, which I probably am, I learned to read their mood. Do they want to talk? Do they not want to talk? I let them set the tone. And so if they're a person that wants to talk, I don't say anything. And then if they're talking to me, then I'll talk back to them. But even then I'll be like, okay, and now I'm going to be quiet, because maybe they changed their mind. Maybe they don't want to be talking anymore. They did, and now they don't. So there's a sort of a sense, a presence, like that you kind of connect with that person, and you defer, you defer to what they need. My job is to get you from point A to point B. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to get you to point B. So my job is to get you there, and it's not for me to like feel good about myself or to make you laugh or to, somehow show you how impressive I am or whatever it is. I just need to get you there and have it feel safe and comfortable for you in the meantime.
Oh, absolutely.
That's it. And I drove a cab for 5 years, and that's where I learned that.
Cool.
If I've learned it. That's where I learned the idea of that. I hope I continue to work on that.
Wow. Well, John, this has been awesome. Thank you so much for being here. Been looking forward to having you on this show, and from the minute I conceived of it or thought of actually doing it. So it's been a privilege. A boon for me.
It's an honor. Well, the honor is all mine. Thank you for having me on your show.
Hey, well, I appreciate you being here, believe me. And then there's obviously Barry. We don't have a schedule yet. Schedule will be coming soon, I suppose. But
like Johnny Carson.
Yeah, And that's correct, sure. But
Crazy.
yeah.
I can't even now Christopher Walken, Carson.
Oh, that'd be
yeah.
good. That'd be good.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so we know Barry will be back for a second season, and John will be there.
Yep.
Don't know how many episodes. We don't care, but he will be there. Tell us about anything else that we might be looking for you in.
I did an episode of AP Bio, which is a network show with Howerton, with Glenn Howerton and Patton Oswalt and
Patton Oswalt.
yeah, amazing. He's an amazing comic who when I was coming up in San Francisco, he was like the guy, like the comic, you know.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was on us. We could tell that he was going to be the superstar, but yeah, what a beautiful show. They treated me really well on there.
That's good. What network would that be on? Do you know?
I purposely didn't say it because I can't remember. I think it's ABC.
Okay. Oh, so one of the
lettered networks. It's
lower
awful.
letter.
They don't remember. Yeah, but it's actually a funny show that I was already a fan of.
Oh, good.
When Wendy O'Brien called me in to audition for it. So God bless Wendy
Very
O'Brien.
cool.
Yeah.
Well, we'll be looking for that as well. And anyone that hasn't seen the third season of Twin Peaks, I know you can get it on Blu-ray, probably Showtime on demand.
Blu-ray is so great, by the way. I highly recommend buying the Blu-ray.
Yeah, I would too.
Right? I mean,
Yes.
it's just an incredible print of it. The
Yeah.
sound is amazing.
Yep.
And
The extras,
and
the
those
documentary.
8 hours of.
Yeah.
Do you remember that guy walking around?
I do.
I
I saw him every time, every day I was
me
there.
too. Yeah. He was, and didn't he have kind of like a German? He was sort of German or something, or European
yeah.
somehow.
If
and who
David
knew?
was there, he was there.
That's right.
It
That's
was
right.
that
yeah.
simple.
Had his little rig when he
Yeah.
went around and was filming stuff. So
Yeah, he talked to me a time or two, I suppose, but I'm barely in there. You see me a little bit, but no big deal.
I
Who
highly
cares?
recommend that
Yeah.
Blu-ray. That
Yes,
Blu-ray
absolutely.
is really, really worth it.
Yeah, it sure is. What I enjoyed certain aspects of it, things that I was at that I wasn't necessarily aware of.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Seeing-
exactly right.
Yeah,
Same
seeing
thing.
David like rehearsing with Matthew Lillard and the gal's name that played his wife.
Yeah.
Great woman. I met her that night.
what
I think I scared the shit out of her.
Yeah.
I was sitting reading before they brought me into the jail cell.
Yeah.
And I'm reading. I'm just sitting in an empty room they're not using, but I'm in the full makeup and gear and all that.
Right.
And anyhow, she walked in, sees me in the dark, and jumped. Literally jumped, you know.
Well, I think you probably had that effect on people. For
I
God's
guess so.
sakes.
But I mean, I was just sitting innocently reading a book. But hey, David he just kind of let me be wherever I wanted to be as long as no one saw me outside, you know. So that was very nice.
Yeah.
Okay, well, look, I want to thank you again.
You're welcome.
We'll be looking for you very, very soon. And next time you come in, we're going to play a little music together.
Okay.
We'll jam a little bit.
Sure.
Or you can, if you have a symphony you want to perform, I'll
Good.
bring in the LA Phil.
I'll keep that in mind. Yeah.
Okay, or get John
I
Williams.
mean, have about
for
3
you.
or 4 symphonies. I'll have to decide which one.
Okay.
That I bring in, but whichever one's the most ready.
Well, I'm
your
good with the
audience.
key of B flat.
Okay.
If anything starts
I got a couple
there.
of them in B flat.
Okay,
Yeah.
Then we're in.
Yeah, good.
We're in.
Yeah.
So, John, thank you very much. Best of luck to John Pirruccello and the cast of Barry on their recent nomination for a SAG Ensemble Award. Folks, I want to wish you all the merriest of Christmases and the happiest of New Years. I also want to thank Michael O'Neill and Tom Wright and my wonderful band. Until next time, keep on smiling.
Wasted away in LA. Wasted away in LA. They tell you it's the place. Don't tell you about the face. They say you're for to see. They don't say when it's near. They say you'll be a star, but you're playing at some bar. I've been wasted away in LA. I've been wasted away in LA. I've been here all
listening to
Into the Woods with Stewart Strauss, and John Pirruccello, and I'll let you figure out who's who.
Thanks so much for listening to this edition of Into the Woods with Stewart Strauss. If you'd like to contact me, use @Stu Strauss. That's STEWSTRAUSS, both on Instagram and Twitter. On Facebook, use my full name, STEWARTSTRAUSS. To get to my website, just add a .net to that, and you're there. I hope that you've enjoyed this show enough to press the like button, and please subscribe.